Hey everybody. Thanks for joining my stream. Today we're going to continue building the Tamiya TT-02 Impreza Monte-Carlo 99. So far we've done in part one, the first stream, we went from beginning of the manual all the way to step 10. And today we're going to try to get from step 11 all the way up to 25. So we're going to try to make a lot of progress today. I think tomorrow we can probably get really close to finishing the chassis. And then hopefully I got one more stream on Friday to work on the body and the decals. I'm going to pre-paint the body. So we'll just be working on the decals and putting it on the chassis when we're done. All right, so I'm not going to take too much time talking. Let me get right into it. Yesterday I said that I would talk a little bit about the differences between a brushed and brush motor. Since this kit does come with a brushed motor and a ESC. Some of you have the 1060 brush ESC, some would have this TBLE02S, and you may or may not have this motor. You may have to get your own motor, but my kit came with it. And if you did get this ESC, you're in luck. These are getting exceedingly rare, and I'm collecting these now. I'm not using too many of these. And this ESC in particular can run actually brushed and brushless. And that's why there are 3 wires here, 3 connectors. When you're using a brush motor, you would only use these 2. And when you use a brushless motor, you would use the 3rd lead. And here's an example of a brushless motor that I have. I also have a Tamiya one that I don't know when I'm ever going to use. It's a 10.5 tooth. Yeah, so I don't... 10.5 T... 17.5. I never use the T anymore, so it's 10.5. And that's quite a lot of speed, and I don't know what car to put it in. I think I bought it to put in the drift car, but I haven't driven that yet, so I don't know if it's going to be a turn. Jeez, well, I don't know what I'm thinking. Maybe it's 10 o'clock at night. Maybe that's why. Jeez, thanks, sandwich. I just think about too many T's. There's tooth and pinions and spur gears, and just that T confused me. Well, anyway, so the difference between a brushed motor and a brushless motor, the internals, I will link a couple videos when I push this to YouTube that explains them quite well. I'm not going to try to explain what the differences are, but I can tell you the benefits. Brush motor is going to be less expensive, and that's pretty much it. They're not going to last as long as a brushless motor. They require maintenance, and it's not as efficient, so it's not going to be as fast as a brushless motor. And the advantages of a brushless motor is that it's more efficient. This will last longer than this, and it doesn't require much maintenance. But the downside is this is more expensive than this, especially since this came with the kit. All right. So I was looking at the manual today, and we're starting at step 11, and I was wondering why Tamiya included this sheet, kind of a addendum to this. specific to the rally cars. Yes, that 10.5 is going to be fast. I think it's going to be scary. I don't know what car to put it in, like I said. Maybe something in the TRF line later on if I can afford one. Maybe a TA08 or something like that, belt driven. But I don't want to put in a TT-02. I think it's a waste of a good motor. So again, I was talking about the differences, why there was an addendum to this. So I studied this a little bit more carefully, and I noticed that right here on the motor plate, Tamiya wants us to put on some anti-wear grease. This right here came with the kit. And also here around the rim of the motor mount, which is interesting. The Spur Gear cover is going to come in contact with that, but I don't know why you would want to put some anti-wear grease there. But we'll certainly do what it says. And here, I think the regular TT-02 comes with I'm going to guess it's a 21 tooth pinion. And in the rally kit, it comes with a 19 tooth. And I think this is, I don't know if this is metal at all. I think this might be even plastic, which is interesting. It's pretty light, and it certainly kind of feels like, it looks and feels like plastic, which is interesting. And also encourages you to use the motor shroud and mount the switch onto the motor shroud along with the switch cover. And of course, there are different instructions for wheels. Well, it's the same instructions, just a different illustration of the wheels. And it also encourages you to use the receiver box to keep the receiver covered out of the dirt, because this, after all, this is a rally car. Yeah, no, I'm not putting the 10.5 in this car. There's no way. Yeah, seal against debris for, oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you don't want the dirt to get into the Spur Gear and the motor. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Sandwich. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get started. I have the motor here, and again, we're going to apply some anti-wear grease, and I don't know what to apply this with, to be honest. Let's see. I think I will use I'm going to use one of these. I promise you this is brand new. I have not put this in my teeth. Anyway, I'm going to put this. This motor's from another kit, so it already had the motor mount on it. That's why it kind of surprised me. This came out of the MF-01X Ford Escort. After I built it, it took me a long time to actually drive it, and I thought it would be a waste to use all the electronics that I actually put in there. I put an overpowered servo, so I had to take the whole car apart. And when I did, I was like, I'll just take the servo. I'll take the ESC out as well, and the motor. And I just put some generic stuff that I have lying around. And so I can use it for this build and keep the ones that came with this kit sealed in the bag. And hopefully in 10 years or so, they will be worth a mint each. I think I have about 5 of the TBLE O2 ESCs now. All right, I'm going to set this aside. Yeah, let's see. I think there's just, yeah, I don't know how many people are watching. Oh, 2. Hey, just me and you. I'm sure somebody will find us today and join us. All right, now let's find this motor plate, and this is going to be D9. It's going to be right here. And this motor plate, motor mount actually has 2 sides to it. I will show you. This other motor mount here is actually for a 380 motor, a smaller size motor than this. And I don't know why they include it, but it's there. All right, so if we look carefully, there are numbers on both sides of the motor mount. On this side, it starts from 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. This is the last hole. So you can use these 5 holes on this side. And on this side, you can use it for 21, 22, 23, 24. Actually, 21 is this one. 21, 22, 23, 24. And those numbers are the tooth count on the pinion gear. So again, this kit came with a 19 tooth pinion gear. So we're going to be lining it up. And that's why this addendum sheet exists. So we're going to be lining it up on the 19th holes right here. And that is going to be this one and this one. All right. And the way you do it, you're going to hold the numbers that you're using towards you, facing you. And I am a little bit particular about the rotation of the motor. I like to show that it's a torque tune. Certainly you can just turn it this way, but then the label would be on the, it'll be facing the chassis and you won't be able to see the torque tune. I wish they turned this decal around so that when I mount it in a TT-02, torque tune wouldn't be upside down. But it is. Okay, so we need to find these 2 screws, MA4s. And these are going to be the kind of squarish button heads that have really fine grooves, teeth on the screws. And it's going to be these 2 screws right there. Okay, let me put this aside. And so we're going to line up the motor mount. I'm going to put 1 screw here on the 19th hole, which is this one. And I'm going to line it up with the label here. I'm going to line up with that top hole. And just give it a couple turns so it doesn't fall back out. And then I'm going to line it up with the other hole here. It's already lined up. Actually, I don't think that's lined up. I think that's lined up with the with something else. Huh. The screw went straight in. If this is wrong screw or I stripped the motor, one or the other. So let me take a look. These might not be the correct screws. They would have to be a little bit bigger. Let's see. Huh. MA4, are they the same as before? The same ones? Oh, those were MA2s. I'll be darned. Let me look for these screws because I don't see them here. I don't see them in this at all. It's not in the B bag. Do you remember where they were? Sandwich? Let me try the motor that came with the car. Sorry about that. Ouch. So this is the motor that came with the car. I'm just going to see what's going on. Because those are the only two screws that look like they will fit. They were in a different bag. Okay, well, I will look after I try this. And if you do use, actually it is not plastic. It's sticking on here. And this one is, I think this is a 17. But anyway, let me see. Where those two screws go? Here they are. Let's see if it's the motor or... Ah, it is the motor. Let me see. What happened to this motor? What happened to this motor? Oh, silly me. The motor mount wasn't aligned with the holes. It was going through there. Silly me. There we go. Just a little bit. There. So I'll make sure those line up. That was a silly mistake. Anyway, let's go back to putting this on. And it was going to be like this. And these two screws, you certainly want it to be tight because you don't want any vibrations or rattling it. When this is spinning very fast, you don't want this to be rattling against this. And then it actually might break this motor mount. There is a hop-up part that is aluminum. And it's blue, it's very good looking. And that is a hop-up part that you should definitely use if you plan on going brushless. Let me put this back. So if you use the motor that came with the kit, you actually have a 17 and you can choose. I am going to use the 19. The TT-02 is a dangerous car. Now I'm wrapping mine up. I want another one. I don't know how dangerous it is, but it certainly is not... I don't think it's very fragile at all. I've crashed into the wall quite a few times, and I've only probably broken an arm or something in the front maybe once. I have it on my Instagram if I can find it. It was my TT-02. I was practicing at the track. And I don't remember what I did, but I ran straight into the wall, and the only thing that broke was one of the arms or something like that, or the hub. All right, so let's look at this pinion gear. And this pinion gear has a hole right here on one side. Sometimes there are two. And the motor itself, the shaft here, there's one side. If you look at it in profile straight on like this, you can actually see one side has a flat spot. It's flat. It's not a completely round shaft. There's one side that's flat. So you're going to use that L-wrench that came with the kit. I will use my 1.5mm hex wrench. I'm going to grab this grub screw, and it's this very small screw that doesn't have a head at all. It's just the entire body is a screw. And I'm going to put that on. I'm going to carefully thread through this hole on the side of the pinion gear, but not all the way. And this screw, so I'm going to line up this screw with the flat part of the shaft. And right here it says the distance should be 10 millimeters. I can bring out the caliper and try to get 10 millimeters, but I will show you how I will make sure that it's aligned correctly, because this needs to make contact with the spur gear. All right, so for now, I think we're done with step 11. And when I put this into the car, I will make sure I put the anti-wear grease on the outside of the motor mount. And I'll put some grease on the pinion gear as well. All right, so that addendum sheet replaces this. Dangerous to my wallet. I think the whole hobby is dangerous to your wallet. Never mind just the TT-02. You can spend way too much money on the TT-02. And you'll make it a slightly better car, but you're not going to be able to compete with anything that is race proven, like a Mugen or X-Ray. You're not going to be able to compete. So, as I was saying, actually, let me put the grease all the way around first before I set that in. This stuff is even thicker than toothpaste, just to give you an idea how thick this is. I went a little overboard on the component, man. Yeah, you can easily do that. I saw you got a Spectrum transmitter. Was it new, or did you get a used one? Is it a DX4? It was half cut off. I couldn't really see exactly what it was. And again, Sandwich pointed out that the reason why Sandwich is a follower on my Twitch stream, and I'm chatting with him right now. Just in case you're watching this on YouTube as an archive, that's who I'm talking to. All right, so he pointed out to me that this grease will help keep dust and dirt out of the gearbox right here, the pinion and shroud here, pinion and spur gear. I bought it like new 6. Okay, and a YouTube sub. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sandwich. All right, so now we're going to make adjustments to that pinion gear first. Let's take a look. Let me zoom in here. I have about a second, probably like 3-second lag that I need to wait for. So you can see that the pinion gear is supposed to line up perfectly with the spur gear. So it looks like it is a little bit off. I can probably back the pinion gear out a little bit. But before we do that, let me put a screw, 2 screws, through here to lock down the motor mount. Now the motor is not going to go anywhere. I need to make sure I use the same kind of screw. I guess when I rewatch the stream, I'll find out. But there you go, it's not going anywhere. So now I'm going to loosen that grub screw on the pinion gear. Oh, it wasn't seated all the way, that's why. And I'm going to stand up, and I'm going to line up the pinion and spur gear and tighten it from there. And so that should be much better. Should be more aligned than before. So, and that's kind of the alignment you want for the pinion and spur gear. All right, that really isn't going anywhere now. Okay, let's see what is next. We're going to put on the Spur Gear cover, and that is going to be this right here, part D3, which is this. Let's see. Mine was weird too. One goes in deeper. You did it properly. I think the motor mount was not flat against the chassis, so you might want to check your car later. And that's why one side didn't go as far as the other side. So this bigger semicircle is going to cover the spur gear, and this smaller one's going to line up with that motor mount. Let's double check. I need to put some grease on the pinion gear, and I'm going to be using the Super Lube. This is a silicone grease. Certainly you can use the tube that came with it. I just prefer using the silicone, and I prefer to use it, apply it with a syringe, plastic syringe like this. Much easier to apply, more accurate, and if needed to, I can get into tighter spaces. So I'm just going to go all the way around, be generous. I like silicone grease because it's safe on plastic. So you don't have to worry about the spur gear getting brittle or anything like that compared to a lithium grease. Let's see, mine was, yeah. Okay, so let's set this down and lock it up. Before I lock it up, I'm just going to make sure the shaft still spins freely, and does. So I'm going to need 3 more of those screws, and it's going to be here, here, and it's going to be behind there. It's going to be that one. So let me stand up. I really hate the feeling of grease in my fingers. Yep, wrong screw. I think this is my 6th TT-02 build, and I still make mistakes. So if you're just starting out, this is your first kit, don't worry about it. These kits are very, very robust. If you make a mistake, you can just undo it. you're wondering why I built 6 of these, they were all different variants. So the TT-02 platform is very versatile. So I have the this would be my second standard TT-02, the base model that all of the basically all of the passenger cars and some of the GT race bodies will have this chassis. They're inexpensive. It's a great starter kit. Even though it seems like it's very difficult to build, it's not. So I think if you have any kind of model building experience, you'll be able to do this pretty easily. Then I got the TT-02 RR, and that is a race spec variant, and it has several aluminum parts. I think of the shaft, had a smaller spur gear, and it had different upper arms. It had turnbuckles instead, and the uprights were aluminum as well. So there's several differences. That is the race spec one. And there, I also built the TT-02 SR, which is another kind of race spec model, completely different from the RR. I feel like the RR is more for speed runs, like just going fast, and the SR was built for a little bit more for track racing. SR, I don't remember if it came with the sway bars, anti-roll bars, or it was an aftermarket anti-roll bar. But either way, it the arms accepts the anti-roll sway bar. So as opposed to all the other variants that do not. Then I have built the TT-02B. Let's see, I need to find the battery holder, so it's going to be B2. It's going to be right here. This is going to help hold down the battery. And the second one. So that is actually a very fun buggy to drive. I think that kit really surprised me how well it performed. I took it to the track and kind of mess around with it. If you go to my YouTube channel later on, you'll see I did quite a few videos on it. How I improved its handling just by making a few adjustments. Very interesting car. All right, so let's see. I'm going to need 2 more screws. And then I've also built the TT-02T, which is the truck, the Sand Scorcher. That is a very rare variant here in the United States. I actually ordered that from Japan and had it shipped here. Because I really wanted to collect all of the variants. Unfortunately, I sold the TT-02 SR to a friend, and I kind of regret it. I wish I had kept it. It is a great, it was just a good car. It was just as close to a race car as you can get. And I really, again, I don't think he's watching right now, but I regret selling it to him. I wonder if he would allow me to buy it back. Probably more than what I got from him. I would still probably pay it. All right, so we're done with step 12. The only thing is it tells us to kind of bend in the motor wire at the terminal, and we'll just do that real quick. Are you still checking, Sandwich? All right, so now we're going to go to step 13, and it's going to be the lower arms, and we're going to start with the rear. And rear is going to be this side, so let's flip this over. I like to put the parts with the same perspective as the manual so it doesn't get confusing. We're going to need both of the B1 arms. And the B1 arms are going to be these right here. That's B1. I already foresee a problem here. I only have one of these suspension balls left, and I'm gonna need two. I don't know where it went. Maybe I dropped it, or maybe it just didn't come with it. I have no idea, but I'm gonna have to think of something. I think I have a set of aluminum ones somewhere. Let's see. Okay, so let's make sure we put the arms in the correct position right here. This diagram shows us the logo, the Tamiya logo is going to face the chassis. And it would make a difference if I flipped it this way, it's going to be a shorter wheelbase. So I'm going to make sure I flip it this way. Let me grab the other arm. Same right here. Now let's put some grease on. Oops. Do I have another TT-02 here? No, I don't. I'm gonna have to take a pause later and try to find that lost suspension ball, or the hop-up aluminum ones. I have to find one or the other. Okay, it is flush on mine, and one goes deeper, but I think it's due to the thicker center of the chassis. Both seem to thread all the way. Oh, good. Pivot balls, one was stuck to another part in the back. I thought that was the problem, but I can't find it. Well, I'll look for it when we get to that part. And we're going to need part A9, the front suspension mount. I mean the end suspension mount, and it's going to be this piece right here. Building the rear. And it has two sides. This side with this slot right here is going to be facing up. Again, we're going to apply a little bit more grease around the arm. Here we go. Just need to line up the arms and push that in, and we're going to put one screw on top. Let's find that. It's going to be at the end of that slot right there. It's going to line up with the chassis. It's really going to bother me if I can't finish this kit because of a pivot ball. I will have to go to storage tomorrow and dig one out of the other TT-02s and then call Tamiya. All right, we're done with step 13. We mounted the rear lower arms. And any kind of arms, you want to make sure there is free range of motion. After you're done, let me just wipe off a little bit of the excess grease. Grease attracts dirt, so you don't want too much excess grease lying around. Okay, we're going to continue with the rear, and we're going to put the rear bumper. And the rear bumper is going to be this right here. It's going to be B6. Oh, is that 8? No, B8. It's going to be this one. side. And it's going to line up here, these two holes, and these two holes are going to line up with these two right there. So it's going to look like that. And that screw is going to peep through the center hole. And these two screws, since it's on the bottom of the car, are going to be the flathead screws. It's going to look like this. And you can see the bumper here is countersunk as well. So Sandwich, did you really built the car without the manual, or are you just exaggerating? Because you said you just built it by sight and just whatever looked correct. All right, the next two screws we need are the longer ones, and you can see it shaded a little bit darker. So it's gonna be these two right here. It's gonna go here and here, like that. No, that was about the KW. Oh, okay. We were talking about the electronic box. I have the manual for TT-02. Okay. I think that KW06 is like $600–700, if I am not mistaken. Okay, now we're done with step 14. Now it's time for the front lower arms, and I need to find that pivot ball now. Lo and behold, it's right there. It was stuck to the servo saver. Thank you, Sandwich, for the tip. I'm pretty sure I lost it on the first kit I built as well. All right. No harm, no foul. It's good. No interruption to the stream. All right. So the arms we need for the front are these. This one and this one. Okay, and now we're going to put them on. Let's look at the direction again. So the logo this time is going to face the front of the car. So we're going to set them in this way. Oops, not this way. Logo out, facing out. But I can demonstrate to you if you wanted a shorter wheelbase. This front ball right now is here. If I flip this over, you can see that it seats back quite a bit. There we go. Let's see if I made a mistake yesterday. We'll find out. So let's snap these balls in. And the same thing, we're gonna lock these in with A9. I don't know if you guys can tell from the stream, But I'm really enjoying myself. I enjoy building the kits, and I enjoy the fact that it is a live stream. I get to interact with viewers, and I don't have to stop in the middle and do editing. And I really like this format, and I think this is going to be my preferred format from now on. So all of the streams that I am going to do will be pushed to YouTube. Of course, it's archived here, but you can also find them on my YouTube channel, along with other content that I have produced and will produce. Something less building and just more, just maybe educational, or things that are not really kits, like ESCs or something, comparison videos, things like that. And track runs, of course. I'm not going to live stream from a track. Okay, let me put those screws in, just that one screw. This one right here. I really hope I didn't mess up the lower arms. I mean the upper arms. Let me see. I wish I had the other TT-02 here, but let me just look. The reason why I'm concerned is, oh, they do line up. When I had it flat, these two didn't look like they were going to line up, but looking at it this way, they are. So everything is good. There's a little bit of caster angle, but I think that's on purpose. Let's do the bumper, step 16. I put the tag ADHD on this stream, and I also have a video talking about ADHD on my YouTube channel. And that's because obviously I suffer from ADHD. That's correct. Okay, good. And surprisingly, building a kit actually really helps me. So of course I have, just like most people with ADHD, I have superhuman focus if something interests me. And so I can do this for a very long time. And it wouldn't, if it wasn't because it's going to be midnight, I would just keep going. And actually I plan on building the next kit in one go. I don't know if you know what the Tamiya holiday buggy is, but it's kind of like a dune buggy. It's blue, and from what I understand, that's a pretty straightforward kit. You're not even supposed to paint it. It's a plastic shell, and it actually says don't paint it. I think I can finish that in one stream, so I'm gonna take a look at it carefully and plan it out. I was thinking maybe a Sunday morning or a Sunday afternoon here in Southern California. Yeah, I think that would be interesting. I think the reason why I stream so late in the evening is because this desk right here is directly facing a window and a alleyway, and our neighbors sometimes are loud, just talking loud. Some people come home and you hear the garage. Sometimes the gardeners are here and you hear the blower. So it's not the best to stream on just during the day. But I think on Sunday I can probably avoid a lot of that, especially in the morning. So we'll see what happens. But if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it this weekend. All right, so let's put these two screws on. Oh, back to ADHD. See, I get distracted easily. Doing this really helps me focus. From cutting the part out of the tree to, you know, screwing the screws in, it just, it interests me. So it grabs my attention, and I'm able to do this for a long time. So if you happen to also have ADHD, you suffer from it or blessed with it, whatever you want to, however you want to think about it, give this a try. I mean, it's a great hobby. A little bit on the expensive side, as Sandwich and I can attest to. But, you know, really, there's a lot going on here. And the manuals are so well written. There's no ambiguity, and you can just follow along. There's less stress. There's no stress. There's no interpretation. One of the things that brings me a lot of anxiety is just not knowing for sure, and I have to make spontaneous decisions on things. But right here, you need to cut out these two parts, and you need to put a bearing in between. I mean, it just doesn't get any simpler than that. Okay, now we're going to build the front uprights, and the front is this side. So let's flip this over and grab these parts. So C3 and A1, and they're identical on both sides. Some uprights may have different part numbers because they are molded differently. But this particular kit, both are the same. Okay, and they're going to be on this tree, and they're going to be this one right here. All right, and I need to take this little nub off. And the other side. Okay, take those away. Now let me bring in the axles, and these are both 3, so I can just use these 2. I mentioned yesterday several times that I would leave links to all the tools that I use on stream, and I have done that. At least I started to. So if you look below in the About Us section, you'll find that there is a All My Links link that you can click. And from there, actually, I think the Amazon storefront link is right there, right below that. And that, if you click that, it goes to my storefront. And what it is it's I've selected all the products that I would recommend and use on stream into kind of my own little store on Amazon, if you want to think of it that way. And it is an affiliate situation there where I will earn a small commission when you buy from my link, from my storefront. And of course, the proceeds would help support the channel, so it's a win-win. You get the parts and kits or tools that you're looking for, and I will earn a little bit of money. All right, we need to get the bearings out again. Again, if you are using the plastic bearings, it's going to be these white ones. I hope I will never have to use those plastic ones. I almost had to last night. When I was asking people to vote on which car to build, it was actually the TT-02 that won. But then I remembered I hadn't bought the bearings yet, which I have already ordered. It's going to be here on Monday, I think. So we're going to push this bearing all the way in, like that, so seats. And we're going to put a little bit of grease right here on the axle. Yeah, so it was supposed to be the TT-03 Porsche 911. But when I realized I didn't have bearings, I just decided to go to the TT-02. I have a couple bearings kit for the TT-02. This is the brand new kit. This is sealed when I started the stream. I have another bearing kit that were bearings recovered from another TT-02 for some reason. I don't know what happened. I think I swapped out all the bearings at one point for the TT-02RR, I think. And I saved them. I cleaned them and I saved them. So I'm glad I did. Would have been really bad if I couldn't stream last night. I want to stay consistent. I want to keep streaming. I enjoy building these kits, and unfortunately the kit videos and just YouTube videos were causing me a lot of stress, because just thinking about editing would just make me procrastinate. So I had plans to, I forgot to put a little bit of grease, but it's okay. The axle has enough grease on it. I've wanted to stream for a long time. I've had the YouTube channel since 2019. And I think even shortly after that, maybe 2018, 2019, 2020 when the pandemic started, I wanted to start streaming, but I was always kind of unsure if it would work. I'm both in format and in just execution, if I'm able to do it. But here I am. I feel very comfortable sitting here building this kit and also chatting with you guys as well. So I think everything works out. I think this is going to be my preferred format. So the next step, step 18, we need to do several things before we put the uprights in. So we need to find both of the C2s, which are going to be the outdrives, and we also need to find the dog bones. And that is going to be these two right there, and the dog bones right there. Okay. All right. So again, let's look at this outdrive. You can see that the size of the shaft is cut square, and that is going to index into the gear that we have inside there. So we need to put a little bit of grease right here before we drop this in. By the way, this is probably the most difficult step of the kit, and it's not difficult because there's a lot of components and steps. It's difficult because you have to kind of hold three things together at once, and I'll show you what I mean. So if it doesn't go all the way in, just keep turning it slightly until it indexes properly and go all the way in. So it should be like that. And so it says to apply grease to the ends of the dog bone. I don't like doing that. I prefer to drop it into the cups so I don't have to touch it, because if you put it here, you're going to eventually put your fingers on it. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit here as well, and then the tricky part will begin. So just be generous with the grease. So this arm right here coming off of the front hub here, front upright, is going to face the chassis, and that's because this is going to connect the steering assembly. The steering assembly is going to be right here, moving back and forth, moved by the servo, and there's going to be an arm that connects the steering assembly to this upright. So that's why the arm here faces the chassis. So I'm going to drop this in. Now we're going to need the dog bone to be in between these two cups when we eventually close it, but I'm not going to put that in yet because it's nearly impossible to hold everything together. So first thing I'm going to do is to take care of the top, and to do that we need to find, oh, by the way, we need to open the B bag. So let me open that. Let's see, I think we're going to need the screws for sure. And I'll just empty it out here. This tray is $1.25 on Horizon, or $1.99, I don't remember. But it's a great, it's a great little tray. This is worth every penny. I wish I got a few more, and I think I will order a couple more later on. So we're gonna need Mb2, which is still the same darn screw. Actually, no, that's a different screw. It's gonna be these ones right here, where the head is also a hex. So these are the proper screws that we're looking for. We're gonna need 2 of those for this side. And so I'm gonna work on the top side first, obviously. But you can work either side first. You can work on the bottom side or the top side, doesn't matter. Let's grab this A6 and this A10 when we're here. I still haven't memorized all the trees yet. I should have by now, but I haven't. Okay, it's gonna be this piece right here, and A10 is gonna be that. Oh hey, there's a new viewer. If you joined us, say hi. Say hi in the chat. And let's see who you are. All right, now we're into the stream already. So we're going to put this on top. This part will cover, this little cup will cover the top of the upright. And we're going to lock it in with the screw. And Sandwich was telling me there is a mod that you can do to, I think it was this part, or the one on the bottom, to allow for more suspension travel, and I think more steering angle. I'll get more details from him later on, and I'll share that with you guys. It's probably going to be a video. It's not going to be a stream. All right. Okay, now we're going to flip the car over, But this is when we need to hold everything together. So this is already on. Now we have to put the dog bone on to this side. Doesn't want to go in. There we go. And now we need to make sure the dog bone goes in here. And the other end of the upright goes through like that. And now we can turn it over and do this a little bit more easily. I forgot about A8 right here. I need to put this underneath the upright. Let's see, that's this one right here. A8's right there. I always miss a part. All right, there we go. And this is going to go between the smaller side towards the suspension arm, and it's going to go in there like that and like that. So this end, all we need is a spacer. There's no cup, and I'm going to put that in. A8 goes on top. A8. Are you sure? Are you sure? Give me a second. Let me tighten this and I'll bring the manual a little bit closer. For high, you need to do high clearance. Oh, you are probably right. Where is that addendum? Here we go. Was that the hack? Page 18, normal. Oh, you're right. The high. You're right. I'll just take your word for it that this is going to be the correct. I didn't know. I had something covering that. I didn't see the note there. No worries. Thank you. It's good to have friends. And again, I made another mistake. It's okay. Like I said, these kits are very robust. And it can certainly put up with some disassembly and reassembly. Okay, so it's going to go in between there. Makes a lot of sense. I think the TT-02 design is pretty brilliant. I mean, actually, let me just go carefully. Page 18. Let me make sure the parts are on the right side. Let's see, page 18. So the upright, it goes on top and the cup goes on the bottom. Yep, okay. Yeah, like I was saying, I think the design of the TT-02 is pretty brilliant. A lot of material and you need screws, washers, spacers. No, thank you. That does not include, no, thank you. It sounds like it's a worthwhile mod, but I'm not going to do all that. But if I meet you in person, I'll be happy to make a video of you talking about it or even demonstrate it to this kit. Something we can collaborate on. But thank you for reminding me, pointing this out, that the spacers of the A8 and the A10 are in different positions. And yep, okay. So that is correct. And have about 16% more downward travel, roughly 60%. Oh, okay, that's interesting. So 60%, you mean like this? You mean your arms can go further down, like to an angle like this? 60% is quite a bit. I just want to make sure that's what you're talking about. Not because I don't believe you. I believe you. I'm just curious exactly what you're referring to. Downward travel. Not that far, but that direction. Okay. Yeah. That's excellent. That's a great... sounds like a great hack. But let me tell you something about myself, Sandwich. I like building a lot more than I like driving the cars. So it is very likely that I'm going to finish building this kit. I'm going to take it outside the backyard, make one video, take it to the track and make another video. And then the car will sit on a shelf for the remainder of its life. That's just the way my cars are. I prefer building them. I don't get a chance to drive all that much. I live in a kind of a snotty community that they don't really welcome too much noise. Otherwise, I would love to bring my FW06 Nitro outside. But I can't do that. Just a lot of judgmental eyes in my community, let's just say that. All right. Okay, so this is going to point down, and I'm just trying to remember. Yep, this is going to be on top. So it's going to go this way, like that. And the screw is going to be these hex head screws. I get that. I love driving too, but building, modding, upgrading. Yeah, exactly. I don't do any modding at all. I don't know how. Not that far, that direction. Yeah, I don't know how. I'm trying to think if I've ever modded anything. I think the only thing I've ever done with cars is maybe go brushless. Of course, I've done that several times. That's kind of my bread and butter on the channel. It's just putting brushless motors onto humble cars. All right, there we go. Let's see. There it is. The hex screw head. You have to be creative when parts aren't available. Yeah, I just don't have that talent. I just don't know how to look at something and say, well, they don't make this lower arm anymore. Let me see if I can use one from the TT-02 and shim it. Stuff like that. I just don't have the talent. Let's see. Same for my community. I can run electric, but I have to go elsewhere for nitro. Yeah. And I've done it once. That's how I know. It's just, I just didn't want to do it anymore. Again, so you want to make sure there is plenty of travel. So these are not too tight. Okay, looks like we're done with step 18 right here. I think we did everything, and make sure you look at page 18 and see the correct sequence of those different parts. The A8, A10, and the A6. So check page 18. I still have to get my early 80s bowling pan car. That sounds really familiar. Link. Oh, I think you've talked about it before in the Discord server. That's why it's familiar. I have a. That's great. Yeah, I threw away all my old RC cars. I wish I kept them. I just buy the re-releases. I bought the Grasshopper, the Wild Willy, and the Fast Attack vehicle. I think I said that last night on the stream. Okay, let's grab A11s on both sides. Let's see. I mentioned it here. Okay. Yeah. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I met Sandwich in a Discord server, RC car related Discord server, and the name of it escapes me right now. I'll find it and put a link in there. I also have a Discord server that I have not really used yet. When I launched the channel, I basically just signed up for all of the social media and just reserved the names there, including the domain name, rcsrccars.com. Oh, RC World. Yeah, there you go. RC World is the Discord channel, Discord server name. I want a 110 buggy kit, maybe a Kyosho, not sure. Well, if you want a 110 buggy kit, I think you should go with either Team Associated or a TLR. I think those are the most abundant. You're not going to have any problem finding parts for those cars. I think Kyosho is going to be difficult to find parts for. Same with Yokomo. Yokomo makes a great buggy, but I don't know if you'll find parts for it. One more of a vintage re-release. Okay. So yeah, the Kyosho's, you're talking about like the Tomahawk, the, man, those names, I think it's because it's late at night, I can't remember everything. But I know what you're talking about. Those vintage re-releases. Those are great looking. What are some of the names? I think there was another kind of Native American name reference that I can't remember right now. So let's put a little bit of grease here. Oh, Optima. Yeah. There was another one. Tomahawk and oh, Revelation carries them. He has them in the shelf. I never bought one because I thought they were a little bit pricey, and I never had one, so I wasn't like, oh, you know, I need to have one. I need to buy one. But oh, and then earlier this year, I decided to just go all Tamiya for this year to kind of see if I can build a niche for myself. I think my channel, I didn't get $350 exactly. I was trying to kind of establish myself a little bit more on YouTube, so I decided to just go all Tamiya for this year, and the longer arm is going to face up because we are building a high clearance kit. So ignore this and go to page 18 and notice the longer arms will be flipped upwards. So it's going to look like this here. And again, I'm going to set this down. This time I think I'm going to do the bottom. It's going to be a little bit easier. So we need the MB5. It should be these right here. Tamiya is awesome. I know they're still current, but to me, Tamiya is the finish. Yeah, I mean, I think they make most of their money off of nostalgic middle-aged men with disposable income like me. I think a lot of people in my age group had Tamiya kits when they were young, and they are just grabbing those grasshoppers and wild willies to relive their youth. And I get it. I am one of those people. And for sure, I think my age group has the most disposable income at this point. Not quite middle age yet, but getting the, yeah, middle age, I forgot the definition. I think like 45 is considered middle age. So I'm middle age. But I still kind of feel like a kid sometimes. Like playing with toys. So let's put some grease in here. And some grease, oh, not this one. We're gonna need the drive cups here. The kits are before I'm still nostalgic for it. That's cool. Maybe, was it your dad maybe had some kits and you played with them when you were younger? Oh, I need to put a little bit of grease here. Oh, you said you had a son that was 10 years old, so you had him pretty early. And the dog bones. Right, I put it. I wish they make the trees different colors. Like a gray or something. It's hard to see. Never did Tamiya except model kits. Yeah. Okay. I didn't build them when I was younger. I think my dad had a friend who built them for me, and I just played with them. I was like 10 years old, so I don't think I was able to build these kits yet. Right, so like I said, I did the bottom pin first to hold on to the upright in position, and then now when I put the dog bone in, I can tilt this pretty easily. I just need to pull this through all the way and then put in the upper pin. Oh, 3-year-old girl. So my income. I get it. I understand. Family is very important. All right, there we go. Let's do the other side. And I put the chassis on the block just to be able to get to it a little bit easier. So same thing here. Let's see. Oh, there's just a lot of different kind of RC cars, and that's kind of the fun of it. You can drive a truck one day, a touring car the next, and you can go crawling, and then you can go drifting. And it's all RC. I think when people not in the hobby think about RC, they think of just, you know, buggies flying around, like the Kevin Talbots of the world, jumping around, destroying things. But I think, first of all, RC is educational. These could certainly be STEM projects, I think, engineering wise. There's also electronics involved. What happened? I don't know what you mean by that. Let's see. So again, the arm, the longer side of the arm is upwards, unlike the manual. Okay, I have grease on this already. Inside the cup. Oh, if you're doing upgrades, Sandwich, one of the better upgrades are universals for the rear. I think it was the rear. Those really help you. Actually, it might be the front. Help you with handling. That guy Oh, yeah, that guy. I stopped watching him after like 2 videos, and this was a few years ago. I just thought he was bad for the hobby. It was just, you know, act like an idiot, and then he just destroy cars. I don't understand. You're not helping. You're just encouraging stupid behavior, and not everybody can afford parts like you can, Kevin. All right, if you break it, like when I was young, when I broke a part, that was it. The kit was done. I wouldn't be able to play with it again. Parts weren't that available back then, and I didn't really have a hobby store near me, and there's definitely no internet. He jumps cars. Idiot. That guy. And it's also not because he's ugly. I think he's just a bad influence on the hobby. All right, let me take a sip of water and move on to the dampers. Let me see how much more we have. Dampers and the steering. If I finish before 2 hours, I will just maybe start trimming the body. He acts like that because companies sponsor him too. They hand him a car and he uses it into brakes. It's like irritating because, yeah. I mean, parts, it's kind of a scam. Here, break this and buy more parts. That's not the way I think of RC cars, as machines, just like real cars, just like people who work on real cars. B3, by the way. These two are B3s. These are the damper bodies. We also need B15, the cap, and B15 is a short one. We're building the, oh, that's the cap, that's the top, and the long one is the bottom. So, there we go. Okay, and these dampers are super easy to build. There's no oil, there's no pistons. It's just a friction spring. And all you need to do is push them all together. I also need B9. I missed that one. And B9 are going to be these two right there. Oh, and we need B10. So you pretty much need everything on this side. I need to pay attention. A couple of my favorite YouTubers, RC, are, maybe you've heard of them because they're pretty popular. Razor RC, RC Networks, and Exocage. They all have their niche, and I like watching all three of them. Let's see, and RC Network is kind of focuses on how-tos. Razor RC is more of a review. And Exocage is just, that man works so hard every single day. He's putting out content. And I mean, it's just amazing. He tries things, he tests things, and it's just, his channel has grown and he deserves it. I mean, that he really works hard. Okay, to put these dampers together, we need to line up the side with the hole. One side has a hole and one side has a square hole. So circle hole is going to line up with this slot right here, like that. And we're going to put this ring with the stem in the middle through that hole. And this will lock the cap and the body together. Now we're going to put this spacer ring. Is this new, or I don't remember putting this on the other kits. I don't know. Maybe I have. And then the spring, and the bottom goes in like this. It's kind of an old school type. So you turn it until it goes in, and once you're in, you want to push and turn left or counterclockwise. That diagram right there. And then after that, they're locked in. Yeah, I used to watch Razor RC a lot more. Before I was making content, I watched them a lot more. You know, I took his recommendations on chargers, transmitter receivers, even review on cars. He's a pretty big fan of 110 buggies. So he can tell you what's out there and what's kind of the best choice for... Oh, did you want to... Oh, you wanted a... I forgot. You wanted a Kyosho, the vintage cars. I just had to buy a charger today. For the TT-02. Buy a charger or a battery? Did you get the ProTech battery, the LIHV? I mean the high voltage lithium. It's the only battery allowed in the Tamiya Championship series. Actually, there's a Reedy version as well, but the specs are not as good as the ProTech one. It's just a shame the ProTech one's so easy to expand on you. Let's see. I bet you guys are... Oh, there it is. Charger and battery, yes. Also dynamite battery. Cool. Did you go to a hobby store? Did you go to Tony's? Where'd you go? Ultimate? I'll be able to get you set up both. Okay. I don't know about you. I like DC chargers. I like having that power supply. I like the small form factor. It just feels more high tech. 7.6 in addition to the ProTech. Okay. Cool. Dynamite makes LIHV. High voltage? I didn't know that. Have to look that up. Oh, I was going to ask you. The Kyosho buggy that you wanted. Do you want a 2-wheel drive or a 4-wheel drive buggy? Ultimate, just so close to... Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I wish Tony's or Revs is closer to me, but they're not. But if they were closer to me, I would probably spend way too much time there. I actually want to open a hobby store myself, but I know that is going to be a losing proposition. Hobby stores' margins are... Actually, margins are quite healthy. I looked at wholesale prices once, and it's more than 100%. They get everything pretty much less than half price. So there's plenty of money to be made. Push that in and turn counterclockwise. Yeah, it's bad. Ultimate knows me too well. Yeah, I kind of get the red carpet treatment. No, I don't want to say red carpet treatment. I think he's pretty fair to everybody, pretty nice to everybody over at Revs. But yeah, he helped me with a lot of stuff. Especially with Nitro, if I ever have a question or I need help with tuning it or starting it, he'll come out of the store and help me. You know, I bought the kits there. I could have bought the kit anywhere else. I could have bought the kit online. I could have went to another hobby store. But I like to buy my kits there, support the hobby shop, and I get that extra benefit of help. Earlier on, when I didn't have a soldering iron, I needed the batteries connectors resoldered. He just did it for me. And I appreciate that. I appreciate the helping me out. Okay, and now we're going to attach the dampers to the front. And we're going to be using these step screws. We're going to need 4 of these for the front. Actually, it's not this one. It's going to be the shorter one. Yep. So take a look at the difference and make sure you grab the correct ones. One is shorter, one is longer, and we're going to need the shorter one. And we're going to need 4 of those. Okay. And one for the top. This is the top of the damper. And we're going to be putting it on the inside hole, the lower one right there. You can do the bottom or you can do the top first. I like to do the top first because it's stationary. Oops. I'm talking about the dampers and the damper stay. Rez is awesome, such great customer service. Oh, you went there when it wasn't busy, and you got the owner. That's why you got great service. They would be my main. Yeah, it wasn't 45 minutes. That makes sense. I like Pegasus as well. Oh, too bad you didn't have a chance to just drive up to Pegasus right after. They're only a few miles away. That would have been worth a stop. They have a great selection over there. It's a much bigger hobby shop. Probably like 2-3 times the size. I've been there multiple times. It's always been great to me. Oh, nice. That's great. Yeah, I have the same experience. Just sometimes when it gets busy and it's the kids working, they don't know as much. And I just ended up coming back. I just, I have something, I have a question or I have a request for Garen, the owner, and the kids are there, he's not there, and I just can't find what I'm looking for, so I have to come back. Rev has a lot of nitro guys. If you ever want to kind of be in a group with nitro guys, that is the place. I mean, you need help tuning the engine, or maybe you already know how. Or just help in general. There aren't that many nitro on-road guys. But off-road, I mean, you go on a Saturday, it's just non-stop. Engines revving. It's fumes everywhere. I've been there multiple times. I've been to Pegasus many times, but this time my girlfriend was with me and she got waiting in the car. She got bored. That's funny. I don't do that. I don't bring anybody there. It's my alone time. Okay, let's turn to page 23, and we're going to put the dampers to the rear, and we're going to need 4 more of those screws. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. She asked. She wants to spend time with you, but she wants to spend time with you doing things that she likes to do. That's a typical woman thing. I don't know. Hey, at least she wants to spend time with you. Was that on a Saturday or a Sunday? I forgot. The owner told me I was lucky she left, so she didn't hear the ground. Yeah. He has a lot of customers like that are just hiding their collection and how much everything costs from their significant other. All right, so the upper, the top of the damper goes on to the inside hole again, and the bottom will go on the upper hole of the lower arm. And if you ask me why there are different holes and what they do, if you change them, that's a whole other video. Sunday, yeah. Hide it. I solo support so she doesn't. How am I spending on hobbies? Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff keeps its value. I just sold a Enduro. I got $350 for the Enduro, and it was brushed. There wasn't anything great electronics in there, and someone bought it, and it was a first gen Enduro. I don't know why gentleman was willing to pay so much, or maybe I even priced it too low. I don't know, but certainly used crawler market is pretty strong. Completed Tamiya kits, not so much. But I did sell the Euro truck. I sold the Euro truck pretty quickly. For less than what I thought it was going to sell for, but it sold pretty quickly. And all of my cars are like new. I don't drive them that much. I maybe drive them once or twice to make a video, and that's it. So buying my cars are a great deal. All right, and done with step 23. We put the damper in the back and in the front. Now we're going to do step 24 and 25. And that is going to be the steering linkage. Okay, so let's grab the parts we need. B12, A3. That's B12 right there. And we're going to need those B11 balls, which are these right here. We're going to need 4 of them. So let's grab 2 from here and 2 from the other tree. Yeah, after I finish step 25, if we have a little bit of time, I will bring out the hop-up parts for this car that I do have. When I was upgrading the TT-02 RR, I found out how difficult it was to get hop-up parts. So I bought extra. I bought 2 sets of the high-speed gear set. Yeah, I just bought kind of pretty much 2 of everything, and I figured I will use it one day. And here we are. I need pliers. I don't know where I put them. There we are. Let's use the big pliers. Oops. Doesn't work, I'll break out the needle nose pliers. Yeah, I just don't have the hand strength to pop that in there, but doing it like that works. I have so much trouble with ball cups, ball studs, like the snap-on kind. I have a lot of trouble with those. I always hurt my hand, so I always use pliers. Let's see, and we're gonna need A3. This is going to be this right here, A3 right there. And I think people are the most critical of the TT-02 steering assembly. And it is kind of fudgy. When you use the stock set, it is kind of, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just doesn't feel right. Sometimes it feels like you don't have steering at all. But that's why the aluminum kit exists. Tamiya is all for selling hop-up parts. And so that is a very good hop-up part. Where did it go? No, didn't cut the end. Okay, both sides. Is it this one? I think. There it is. Okay. 3, right? No. What part is this? B2. Oh, there it is. I think I lost my mind looking for these parts. Did notice a lot of slop. Yeah. It's yeah, it's definitely sloppy. It's just, it doesn't do what you're telling it to do. And that's probably the biggest offense of an RC car. If it doesn't do what you want it to do, it kind of defeats the purpose of an RC car. The only thing worse than that is having no control of the throttle and the car runs away from you. That's worse than having no steering. Having no steering, you're likely to run into a wall, which I do often. It's got remote suggestion. Yeah. Yeah. I think I talked about it before. I really want to invest in a very good transmitter receiver. I want to buy that Futaba or Sama, that $800 top of the line radio. Partly because I think it is going to be significantly better than something like a $40 radio. I think it has to be. Okay, we need to pay attention to this part right here. If you look carefully, out here, note direction. So there is a spline here on the top. So this is the bottom, and this is the top, and there's a spline here. And the side with the spline is facing away from the B12 part. And the B12 part is identical on both sides. So here we're going to need the Mb1 screw. And it's going to be one of these longer silver ones. I don't know if that's the right one. Let's see. I think it's this one. So again, and this is one of the problems with the steering. This rotating ball in there. That's where a lot of the slop comes from. They use this system and it's just terrible. But anyway, so make sure the spline is facing the other direction. That would be nice. Do you only downside high and high seats? But yeah, I know. I have a Samwa MX6. That's a cheap radio. It's $100. But the receivers are $50 a piece. Doesn't make any sense to me. And it wasn't even that great of a radio. I just didn't know better back then. I thought $100 was a lot to spend on a receiver, on a transmitter. I have 3 of them. I already sold 2 of them off with the cars. And I'm trying to sell them so I can raise money for the Futaba. Okay, let's find the other screw. I think it's going to be this one. But if I buy that, I'm going to get the case, carrier, the foam, and I'm going to baby it. I'm going to get a lanyard. I'm just going to really dress it up. And from there I can link all my kind of racier cars to go with it. Did I ask you about the new Fly Sky? The one with the bigger screen on top? From what I understand, that is a good transmitter for Nitro. And Razor RC did a review, and that's kind of why I think that. Let's see. So we're going to tie this end to the upright with a Mb1 screw. Again, Mb1 is these longer ones. This one right here. I don't know if I have a 4th one here. Oh, it's going to be that one. Nope. Okay. So this end, let's see. This end's going to tie on to the upright. A lot of people think, yeah, I mean, if you can afford a Spectrum or you know, a name brand one, of course. These are all just budget ones. I mean, I have so many cars that I can't afford to buy $50 receivers every single time. So that's why I look to Fly Sky for those $10 receivers. Why is this pointed backwards? Oh, did I do something wrong? It's pretty late to discover I did something wrong. Huh. I'm gonna put the screw in and I'm gonna ask you if it looks like I did something wrong. Give me 1 second. Because the angle of this steering link is pretty steep. And I wonder if it's because of the uprights or it's just the nature of the high clearance. Is that arm supposed to be that steep of an angle? There is clearance. Maybe it's just the way it is for the high clearance. Well, you can let me know. But I will continue as if it's correct. hope I didn't do anything wrong. Did I flip it upside down? No? That is the correct way. Yeah, no, yours is right. It's just bad. Oh, okay, okay. So that's probably why you made the mod then. That makes sense. That makes sense. I think... I mean, of course, first thing I would do is make these into turnbuckles. I mean, so I can get some adjustments there. Along with the aluminum steering assembly. Oh, hey, we have 2 new viewers. If you want to say hi, I'd appreciate it. And of course, definitely follow if you can. I actually installed a alert for followers. If you click the follow button, we can hear it together. If I turn that on. Yeah, if you follow, I will hear a cheer, I think. I used a 20mm screw and added a spacer to bring it up. Okay, that makes sense. Spacer idea is excellent. Cool. All right. And I always miss this, and I never understood why it's there. But we need to put that foam tape there. And why they didn't just make it that size always confuses me. Because there's no other place that this foam tape is needed. And Tamiya just likes to make things difficult. All right, and that goes here. I think up against the side wall here, up against the side. Actually, I guess I didn't use it. No, it doesn't even adhere to the servo. It goes under the servo horn. I have no idea why. I mean, if it's not there, then the servo horn just in the air. And it doesn't make sense why you want to put something there. But anyway, here it is. So, extra adhesion. I was talking about this right here. Oh, turn that off. I guess nobody wanted to follow. But if you want to say hi, say hi. Okay, and that is it. Step 25. Everything is done for today. I'm not going to start on the electronics. That's going to be a completely different stream. Let me find those Tamiya hop-up parts. Stuff from getting stuck under. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Hey, you have all the answers. Appreciate you being here. Let's see. So these are all of the hop-up parts for the TT-02. I'll skip that for now. Okay, so this is the aluminum propeller shaft that replaces this. These are the propeller cups, the joints. So it's this right here and this and this. It's the motor mount. The one that was plastic in here. And if you want to go faster, you definitely need this set. It's the 68 tooth Spur Gear. More importantly, it has this Spur Gear holder. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to install this. And if you really want to go fast for the lowest final drive ratio, you actually need to buy the 64 tooth spur. So I don't have another 64. That's one thing I couldn't get. And this is a 24 tooth pinion. The highest you can go, I think, is 28 or 29. So this is actually not the one I would choose. Here's an aluminum heatsink, because that shroud, even though it has a scoop for air to come in, the motor gets really hot. If you ever run your TT-02 and just put a thermometer or whatever temperature reader on there, you can't even touch it. That's how hot it is. So this would help dissipate some of the heat. This would come standard in the drift spec TT-02, but I bought one extra for whatever I was going to use it for. I also ran a fan as well. And these two would go together. This is the universal shaft that I was talking about. It replaces the axle and the dog bone, so that becomes one continuous piece. And this is actually for the TT-01 and the TA-04. So in order to use it, you need to buy the universal joint, the gearbox joint, the one in there, for the TT-02. So you need to buy both of these in order to use it for this car. But these are all the hop-up parts that I have. If it's interesting enough, I can do another video where I replace everything. And might as well go brushless while we're at it. I don't want to use this. I don't want to ever use that. I can find another motor or just a completely different system altogether. Maybe a Hobby Wing just stock. Make this a 17.5 stock car. All right, so those are the hop-up parts that I have for this TT-02. Something to look forward to. And so I am going to call the stream right here. I appreciate you joining me and helping me with the kit sandwich. I know I will see you on the server tomorrow, the Discord server tomorrow. And I'm jealous of those hop-ups. I can sell them to you if you want. I don't know what I don't really need to use them. I have another set on the TT-02RR. That one has all of the hop-ups. Yeah, if you watched the stream today, or if you're watching on YouTube, the archive, or on Twitch, watching a previous stream, I appreciate it. And if you watch all the way to the end, I think you're real big fans, and I appreciate that too. If you're watching on YouTube, if you can drop a like, I appreciate it. And if you like what I'm doing on this Twitch channel, click that follow button and turn on the notification. A few of those, let me know. Okay, yeah, for sure. And I will be continuing the kit tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Pacific. I think right now Pacific time is -7 or -8. I think normal time is -8, but I think we're in daylight time, so I think it's -7. But anyway, keep an eye on the stream. If you actually look at my schedule, I'll actually tell you what time I'm going to be streaming. It's 10 p.m. and it's going to adapt to your local time. All right, so thank you everybody that joined me on the stream today. Special thanks to Sandwich, and I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Have a good night.